What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for a live starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's clash against Bodø Glimt in the Europa Conference League. Obviously, this is the first time I've played in this competition. I'm actually looking forward to it though. Sometimes with new competitions, if you remember when the UEFA Cup changed to the Europa League, there's a couple of years where people just didn't really feel strongly about the competition at all. It changed. But I think gradually you get used to it, and I think it'll be the same with this competition. But I think because of how well the team is playing and the sort of level of teams that are still left in this competition, it is something I'm really looking forward to. Interesting to see how close to a sellout it is tomorrow. A lot of people in the home ticket cup scheme be interesting to see if they turn up. I'm hoping it's going to be a good atmosphere. We come into it off the back of Sunday, obviously a 4-0 win. The manager wasn't particularly happy with the way the team played, and I can understand why. I think the first half was really slow. Too many of the sort of squad players who have come into the team on Sunday coasting a wee bit. I don't think we played at high enough tempo in the first half, didn't move the ball quick enough, and didn't really create that many chances against a championship side. So I could see where the manager was coming from with his comments after the game, and I thought he handled it really well after the game. As I say, this is a live format. You need to be subscribed to contribute to the live chat. I'll try and pick out some good ones as I go through tonight. But it's time to look at Bodø Glimt and their form. They don't have much form, of course, because they're currently in pre-season because of the way their season is scheduled. Summer football, basically. They've been on pre-season training in Alicante. I think they've played 3 games. They drew with Dynamo Kiev. They beat 2 teams from Scandinavia. Since the draw was made, they've sold 4 of their key players from last season. In terms of competitive fixtures, though, they haven't had many. They haven't had any since the draw was made, but their competitive unbeaten run does go back to last August. So they were unbeaten in their 6 group games. They had the high-profile results against Roma, particularly the 6-1 game, obviously, which everyone talks about. But the thing that stands out to me about this game and this team is that they play a very similar, aggressive, pressing, attacking style to Celtic. So I think that makes for a really, really interesting game tomorrow. It could be end to end. I expect it to be fast paced and entertaining, hopefully for us, but I think it will be entertaining for neutrals nonetheless. We'll get to the team. I think in goals it will obviously be Joe Hart. The only thing I want to say on Joe Hart tonight is I loved that video he did for that young boy yesterday on Twitter. A nice touch from him. He's been brilliant since he's come to the club, on and off the pitch. At right back, I expect Juranovic to come back in. He is a massive player for us. He's obviously been missing the last couple of weeks, but I expect him to come back in to that right back slot. And then at centre half, it'll go back to Carter Vickers and Starfelt. Starfelt got arrested at the weekend. Welsh came in, and Welsh was obviously the subject of that clip where Ange was screaming at the team to stop passing the ball back. So I think we'll be much better in there with the combination of Carter Vickers and Starfelt, who have been excellent all season. I've went for 8 changes, by the way, from the team that faced Wraith Rovers on Sunday at left back. I think Greg Taylor will come back into the team. Again, I think he's first choice at left back. Scales scored another good goal on Sunday there. The only thing I'd say about Scales, I think on the ball, he's maybe a bit slow at times. Even though he scored that goal at the weekend, his all-round performance didn't blow me away. I think he's going to be a good squad player for Celtic, Liam Scales, which, listen, some people might have thought when he come in that he would never kick a ball. But he's done relatively well when he's been in the team. I just think the manager prefers Taylor, and I don't think Scales is a much better option, a visibly much better option at left back. So it'll be Taylor tomorrow. In midfield, I expect the captain to return. A massive player for us. He nearly came on Sunday. He was lined up ready to come on at 1-0, I think, and when we scored the second goal, he sat back down, so it was a good opportunity to rest him. No need to risk him once the game was comfortable. In front of him, I'm going to go with Hatate and Matt O'Reilly. Martin spoke to Matt O'Reilly at the press conference yesterday, gave a really good insight into the instructions and how clear the manager has been about what his role is in the team. And I think the combination of that and Ange this week talking on Australian television about being very specific about the type of player that he wants before he sets out to try and bring anyone in. That the combination of that, getting the right player with the right attributes and giving them clear instructions, is why we've seen so many players settle in so quickly this season. And Matt O'Reilly is one of them. I just think Vogic at the weekend was really poor. So I expect O'Reilly to start this game. Vogic is an option off the bench. I think O'Reilly's energy is going to really help us in this game. As I say, I expect it to be fast-paced if Bodø Glimt style is similar to ours. On the wings, I'm going to go with Lila Bada. No surprise there. James Forrest really disappointing at the weekend, as was Johnson on the other side, obviously. Abada in great form, can always get you a goal. So I think he'll definitely start on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, the man that came on Sunday and really sort of changed the game, didn't he? He just brought energy and life to the game that hadn't been there for 50-odd minutes. Jota, an absolutely outstanding player, and I think this is a great night for him to go and show what he can do. He had some excellent performances in that Europa League group stage, none more so than the away game against Leverkusen. So I expect him to start tomorrow, and I think the manager's got a bit of a dilemma with who he plays through the middle. Is it to be Giakoumakis, who did the pre-match press conference, or is it going to be Dyson Maeda? I've gone with Dyson Maeda. I just think Maeda gives us more energy. I think his pressing will be more intense, and as I say, if this game is going to play out the way I think it might, if the styles are the same and it is an attacking open game where there's a lot of high intensity pressing involved, I think Maeda's just a bit more suited. Giakoumakis, again, an option off the bench. Not to say that Giakoumakis hasn't pressed well when he's been in the team. I think the game against Rangers was a really good example of that. He put in a great shift that night, but I'm just going to go Maeda in this one. Before we round up, I'll try and pick out some live chat comments. There's a lot coming in. Ryan Ferguson, criminal Jota O'Reilly, but can't see him starting. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the manager does tomorrow. Vogic has been excellent this season, absolutely brilliant. I thought on Sunday he was really, really poor though. Totally unlike Tom Rogic, he couldn't control the ball. I think he fell over it a couple of times. Just wasn't at it at all. I've went with O'Reilly. It's just good that the manager has that option to play either O'Reilly and Vogic. They're similar, got a lot of similar attributes, but it's good to have that depth there that we haven't had all season. Fiona Carroll, unpopular opinion, Taylor isn't as bad as people make him out to be. I think Greg Taylor recently's played very well. I think a lot of people still have reservations about him as the long-term first choice left back for Celtic, but his performances recently have been brilliant. And again, you can't underestimate the impact of a manager who gives you clear instructions. And I think Greg Taylor has committed to the role. It's a challenging role to play full-back in this team. We know that. They have to go into midfield well outside their comfort zone. So I think Greg Taylor's adapted to that pretty well this season, better than I expected him to. And I think his performances recently have proven a lot of people wrong. Shout out for the super chat as well. I don't know how to read out that username. 3-1 to the Hoops. I'd take that tomorrow. The away goals rule obviously not in place in European football anymore. So that'd be a good result for us. As I say, Bodø Glimt had a good side. Sprung onto the scene really in the last few years, but that unbeaten record in competitive games stretching back to August, even though their season's been finished for a couple of months, is impressive. And in that group stage, they performed really, really well. So I expect it to be a tough test for us, but I'm confident if we play the way we've been playing recently, that we can get a positive result to take into the second leg next week. There you go. That's the team that I think the manager will go with tomorrow. Like this video, comment your own thoughts below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you tomorrow after the game with all of the full-time reaction. Cheers.